The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Whether you're new to sales or a lifetime veteran, the Blackbelt Sales Podcast will sharpen your sword and guide you to master the art of sales. And now, here's your host, the ninja himself, Gene Slade.
Hey, what's going on? What's up, my ninjas? Good to see you today. I was trying to watch that intro. Did that intro go off successfully? I'm not sure.
That intro was badass, Gene.
I couldn't even see it here, man. I
I
was
loved
trying
it.
to
It
hit
was awesome.
What's that?
I said I loved it. It was awesome.
Good. So what's up, my ninjas? Good to see you today. I have got my man, Scott the Don Bidwell, in the house this morning. Thanks for coming on the show, Scott.
Oh, man, I'm honored. Thanks for having me.
So Scott, Scott is one of my previous clients and one of my friends. Has recently built a tremendous business. We actually went out and did a little bit of work with him out in Colorado. We did some work with our mastermind as well. I think you had like 26 guys in there at one point or something like that. He had a big company. Scott, if you would, please take us from like the beginning, like from the first job that you had, kind of give us an idea of what led you to becoming the CEO of what was a $17 million company?
Yeah, we did $17 million the final year we were in business.
So what was your first job? And then what took you, give us kind of your professional journey, your roadmap.
So, I mean, the quick and short of it is I went to college for 1 year, and my brother came and picked me up from college and said, hey, I think we should do this. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. Well, that ended up, we took off and did it. It was basically a handyman business.
Okay.
We called ourselves 2 Men and a Hatchet. Because that's the only tool we had in the trunk of our car at the time. But we went through that shortly, and then out of our handyman ad, we got a call to do some landscaping, and we went and did the job. And we're like, hey, we don't know what the hell we're doing, but we'll give you a price and do the best we can. And he's like, cool. We gave him a fair price. He signed up that day, did the work. After we did that work, he had us do his fence, and then from there we went and did. We owned a neighborhood in Colorado Springs, just doing landscaping. And I mean, it was just door after door after door after door. Both of us, Jason and myself, we would work all day, sun up, sun down type stuff. And at the end of the night, we'd knock on doors and hand out flyers and bid the next job,
Guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we were knocking on the doors and bidding jobs at the same time and walking out with $15,000, $20,000 checks to do their yard.
Massive nugget here, y'all. Massive nugget. All right. If you're getting started, you're either got money or you got time usually, right? When you start out your business, you got a lot more time than money, right? I can't tell you how many freaking people I've talked to about this. Just go and knock on a couple doors of the neighbors. Have yourself a pre-printed out, already memorized script to have an encounter with the next person. Keep going, man. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching this live, will you please do us a favor? Just put live down in the comments. All right. Put live in the comments. If you're watching it on a replay, just put replay. All right. We don't ask for a whole lot to do these lives other than some engagement. So thank you in advance for putting live and replay in the comments. Go ahead, Scott. Keep going.
So, yeah, we did that for, I don't know, it was like on and off for 3 to 5 years. And quite frankly, I mean, we were busting our asses and working really hard, sun up to sundown. I mean, I'm talking 16-hour days, doing complete yards in one day. So, I mean, 15, 20 yards of soil, we were hauling it with wheelbarrows, man. We were working our butts off. So we just decided that, we just gave it up. It wasn't really a business that we could sell. It was just us in a truck, basically. Chucking a truck. But from there, we went to we actually moved down to Arizona and got into doing underground skirting and awnings. And
underground skirting.
Yeah, so on mobile homes, when they ground set those mobile homes, we would actually go through. I mean, it's 400 pieces of rebar around there. We have to pound it by hand, and then we skirt it with wood around, and then they backfill the dirt to make it look like it's
working hard, don't you?
Yeah, in my young days, man, I worked my butt off. I mean, I could work circles around the best of them for sure. But again, got tired of that. And I went to work for a credit card processing company, not the company itself, but selling the services.
Right.
And that's when I realized, Gene, I said I was in competition with the number one sales rep that they had within the first month. And that's like, you know what? I'm a salesman. I learned that at that point. And Jason actually answered an ad for a HVAC company that was hiring maintenance techs that they were trained. So I was in my business, in my field for about a year. He was in that for about a year. Then finally I went over there. That was in 2006. So I started in the HVAC industry in 2006, and I can't think of the name of the place, but it's Acker or one of those, one of those places. But all three of myself and both of my brothers won sales awards with them for top tech sales, top estimator sales, right. All of that. And I'm talking, we were doing 1.5 million as technicians back when 1.5 million was unheard of.
Right. What year?
2006 to 2008.
Yep. I mean, 2006, I was doing over $1 million in 6 months just in ductwork.
Yeah. Well, you grew up in the industry, brother. I didn't grow up in the industry. I didn't know what you got to think at this time. I didn't know what a thermostat was. I mean, literally green. I had no clue. I mean, my first day was like, okay, you're gonna have to show me what a thermostat is and what a thermostat does before I could go any further. Yeah. But I was a maintenance tech for about a year, and because I was flipping so many of those maintenance leads, maintenances into sales, they made me an estimator. And I tell you, Gene, when I say we were doing 1.5 million, we took the whole summer off. We were hanging out with the owner on his yacht in the summertime. But
you ain't got to work a lot of hours to make a lot of money.
Oh, hell no. We were making more money hand over fist than I'd ever seen in my life. But at some point, it's like, I don't see why we can't do this. I've got the phone experience. I could create a badass call center, and I can do this. We've all got the sales experience, and we decided to go at it. In 2010, we actually bought a company called Solar Bear. Those of you in Florida might know Solar Bear, and across the nation. Actually, we ended up opening 5 locations across the nation. But we started Solar Bear in 2010, and we had nothing. I mean, literally nothing. I mean, I had taken about 3 months off. We were all off for a little while. So we were all kind of broke. I mean, I had $5,000 to my name probably, and I still had rent due. This guy wanted to sell his company for $100,000, and he had 2 trucks, his name, license, a decent brand, and website and all of that stuff. And I said, hey, sounds good. I want to buy your company, but here's the deal. I don't have $100,000. I don't have $5,000. Here's what I need you to do, Mark. I need you to give me $5,000 so I can go lease an office so I can get this thing off the ground. So I did that. So we negotiated.
Wait. Hang on a second. I know we were talking about this on social the other day. You went to a company and ended up purchasing the company and got him to give you $5,000 just to go get an office space. So like you didn't give him any money. You bought this on terms.
Yeah.
Dude must have really wanted to
not only on terms, Gene, I got him to give me money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like an upfront rebate. So
hey, just before you continue, if you guys have got questions for Scott, go ahead and put them in the comments. If you got a question, maybe you're, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million company, and you want to know something about how to get to 17, like Scott did. If you've got a specific question, go ahead and put it in the comments. If our moderator loves it, then she'll put it up there.
Right.
Keep going, brother.
No. So we went. We took off right away, Gene. I mean, I started a call center for the company, and both of my brothers, but it was Jason and I that went in partnership, and Mike, my other brother, I just see he's on here, but Mike, he came and worked for us as a sales guy, and ultimately we were all 3 in partnership at that time. But anyways, I started a call center, and we were doing outbound tune-up calls. Hey, do you need air conditioning service? Yep, just like knocking on those doors. Yep. And we took off. I mean, when I say we took off, 26 trucks within 6 months is what we owned. And then, the well kind of ran dry here in Arizona. We were in Arizona, so we ran.
What were you doing, 4 or 5 million with those 26 trucks?
Yeah, it's about that. Yep.
Okay.
We were probably 3.5, 3.5, okay. Somewhere in there. So just one season, 6 months, April till October. And then the well kind of ran dry on the phones. It's like, okay, not as many people are responding. We're still booking leads, but not as many. And so we decided to go to Prescott. And we went up there. I mean, I'm talking when we always talk about that process. Imagine, I don't know if you know what Prescott, Arizona looks like.
Well, they call it Prescott, right?
But yeah. So, but it's a valley, right?
Yeah.
So you picture a valley, and then we take 26 trucks all at one time. Literally, they're driving all in the morning as a caravan up to Prescott, and it's like the old westerns, right, where the Indians surround the mountains and just come down into the valley. It was amazing. It was fun. We took over that. I mean, there was people in the valley trying to kick us out. All kinds of stuff going on there. Well, we hit that pretty hard, and then went to Tucson. Well, then we decided, okay, we're pretty good at expanding, so we opened an office in Colorado, and then we opened an office in Wichita, then we opened an office in Indianapolis, then we opened an office in Florida. All of those didn't become successful or anything like that. We sold the Florida, to the previous owner before it was just bought out. They bought it from us 3 months after we started it, and they liked our name and they wanted the license.
So this actually kind of incorporates one of my questions, and what I was going to ask you is: has everything that you've turned to gold, or did you have some failures? And if so, why do you think that those were failures? What was missing?
Well, shoot. I mean, if I'd have been able to have training and the knowledge that I've learned along the way, and some kind of mentor. I mean, again, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We were barely in the trade for 3 years before we started. So it's not like we were master mechanical electricians or anything, or technicians or anything like that. And we weren't businessmen. We were just guys who wanted to go out and do it on our own.
Right.
Which I know that's the dream everybody has, right? I want to work for myself. We never had the dream that working for ourselves was, pie in the sky and we were going to have all these extra hours of time off and things like that. Again, I grew up on a farm, so I've always been used to busting my butt. But I answered your question, right? Because I tend to get off on a tangent sometimes.
Well, I think what your response was that you didn't necessarily have the mentors that you've got today.
Yeah,
you didn't have the training that you had. Those were probably the linchpins and why those specific branches, they didn't do as well as the other ones. Plus,
correct.
There's only one Scott. There's only one Jason, right? There's only one Mike.
That was our biggest.
If you don't have a good, solid operator in a location where you're not there, you're screwed.
That was our biggest failure up front. When we spread out to those 5 locations, we could only operate 2 of them. I sent Mike to Colorado, and me and Jason stayed in Arizona because we didn't want to move. So we had 3 other locations that pretty much, Wichita lasted the longest, but that's because Mike was 8 hours away and he could go babysit every once in a while.
Right.
But the other 2 they were just pretty much flops. It was like
Listen, you said, even being 2 hours away is a stretch, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like, I've had several different businesses that I've put money into that after a while, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because I wasn't the operator, right? And nobody's going to care about your money like you. You go drop 100, 200 grand into a bank account. You come back a week later, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yep.
Keep going, brother.
So that took us, anyways, we ended up selling off the Arizona division, and Jason and I decided we were going to get out of the business for a while and didn't know what we were going to do. And then my other brother had bought the Colorado version from us, and he was struggling a little bit and said, hey, come up here and help me get this thing off the ground. So I did, and we took it. At the time was Heat Depot. The end of Heat Depot is when we met, Gene, but from 2015 till 2018, 19, somewhere in there,
yep,
we were operating Heat Depot. And again, took it off like gangbusters. We went from, they were doing, 1.5-ish, something like that. The first 6 months we were there, we did $3.5 million, and we were pushing like $5 million within year 2, year 3, year 4. We never could get past that. We were striving and pushing to get 10 million. We never could get there because there's operational things that we didn't know. We didn't know the systems and the processes and all of the things that you got to have in place to get past that barrier. Because every time we'd get up to $8 million, $9 million, it would all fall apart and we'd crumble. And we'd have to reset and start over again.
You're at a break point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at the end of Heat Depot, Mike and I really struggled because our accountant, we thought, was handling our payroll, thought was paying our payroll taxes. And when you talk about struggles, and I think Ken Goodrich has a very similar story, but we had the tax man knocked on our door one day and said, hey, you owe me $1.6 million. It's like, I don't have $1.6.
Oh my God.
So we
I've
kind
been
of
upside down, but not that upside down.
Yeah, we were in debt quite a bit, and then we ended up owing. We got really busy really fast and weren't ready. The cash flow wasn't keeping up with the sales, so we ended up in debt with our vendor as well. And it was like we were at the point where it was like we're ready to give up, brother.
Can I get some booms in the comments for the transparency and for Scott not just putting on a show here today and really sharing with us the challenges that he's actually been through? Mad respect, brother. Keep going.
Thanks, sir. So we after the tax ban, the vendors that came knocking on the doors and all the hard money loans that we took, we decided to.
So for those of you who don't know what a hard money loan is,
yeah, they take more money from you than you make.
Yeah, it's a minimum, bare bones minimum of like 14% interest, right? So like a lot of times it's more than that. You go take out $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 loan and try to pay that bitch back. Seriously.
Yeah, well, they're absolutely predatory loans. Anybody listening, don't take them. Whatever you got to do.
I've taken them. I've taken them.
We did a couple of it. It was like $250,000 a pop, and it's like 21%. And they take 20%. That's how you know you're an entrepreneur.
It's when you've got enough faith and confidence in yourself to go take out a hard money loan, or like I did. I don't know if you ever did this. Did you ever buy here, pay here places?
Oh yeah,
yeah, man.
That's where we bought our first cars. Our trucks.
Yeah. You pay like $3,000 more for the vehicle minimum than it's worth. And then you pay like 18, 19, 20% interest every month on that bitch. And people thought I was crazy, but I was sitting there going, that's only $50 or $100 more a month in interest. And I get to put an asset on the road, something that's making me money. Keep going, man. This is awesome.
So we crumbled, Gene. We hit a point where it was just like, I don't cry a whole lot, but I fell down to the ground on my knees crying, praying to God, thinking of what the heck we were going to do.
Who's been there? Put me in the comments if you've been there, because I should put me in the comments right now. I've been in the fetal position 2 or 3 times in my life.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we had fortunately, right before this all started, our other brother Jason, he had come and we were opening up an office in Denver. So we went through the branding process. We went through all that. We got the company started. So it was kind of able to shut down Heat Depot and come in as one source all at the same time. We said, okay, I can't pay this debt right now. We never shied away from paying the debt, but like our vendor, we owed quite a bit of money to them. We said, look, we're going to pay you back. I still need to buy equipment, but that was it. This is now. Let's move forward. Let's always look forward. Forget about what happened in the past. Let's move forward. And we went. So we took one source from a brand new company. Obviously we adopted some of Heat Depot's employees and assets, things like that. But within 3 years, we were doing that $17 million. And the final breakthrough was 2019. Jason and I actually started going down a little bit of the same path. I was like, I'm done. I'm done doing this. We're not going to do it. So I went to, I was already part of CEO Warrior at the time, one of their clients. And I reached out to you. I reached out to him. And I went to their in November. I went to their one of their trainings, which was a war planning event. And at that event, there's it's like, what are your struggles? What are you doing? I said, look, I can't get past this mark, and we're always hitting this mark and stopping. He said, Mike said to me, he said, well, why don't you just push through it? I'm like, of course, that's what we try to do. He said, no, just pick a number. Let's back it up. So, anyways, we created that in November. We created a budget to hit $15 million. Everything was lined up. How many calls we need, how many trucks we need, how many techs we're going to need, what the sales, what the average tickets were going to be, all of that stuff. And there was no question about it. I came back and said, Jason, this is what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to just do it. I don't care what it takes to get there. And we did it, man. I mean, we followed tooth and nail, bam, went through it. And by October.
You even basically fired almost all of your staff at one point, right after you and I got together.
Yeah.
I was like,
what? When I signed up 26 techs for Service Tech Secrets, Gene, those were 26 brand new people to the industry.
For those
Not
that don't
technicians.
know, he's talking about Service Tech Secrets, which is one of my companies. All right. And we do training twice a week live. It's one-on-one coaching in a group setting. And there's like 400 hours worth of video that you watch, test questions, the whole certification plan. That's what he's talking about. So 26 technicians that are brand new. Think about that. And this was not a small amount of money. Scott was paying Lead Ninja, or he's paying my company over $10,000 a month to train them. Okay, with 26 new guys. Tell me that that's not the entrepreneur's like spirit.
Well, what did I tell you the first time we talked? Gene, I remember the first conversation we had. It's like, hey, Gene, what does it cost to sign up a tech? He's like, $5,000. I'm like, Gene, I don't have $5,000. He's like, what does it do? He's like, well, here's what we can do. It's like, okay, great. So we ended up doing it. And
what's that?
My point is I didn't have the money to do it, but I had the belief that I had to do it.
Right.
And that's what we did. So it's like, here, just sign them all up and let's roll. Yeah. And I could say, this is a plug for Gene and the Lead Ninja program altogether. Probably the best thing we ever did. We had the mindset coaching from CEO Warrior. We had all of that stuff. We were gaining the systems, operations, things that we needed as a company, but we needed to be able to massively train 26 people really fast.
Right.
And when we did that, I mean, some of the people are probably on here, but double, triple income people. They went from maintenance technicians that couldn't sell a single thing that were selling $1,500, $2,000 average tickets. Those that succeeded. You talk to them a lot. Coral, Fred, Ridge, Anthony. Those guys went to like $8,000, $9,000 average tickets, not selling a piece of equipment.
Yeah.
So
they're going, what?
Yeah. And that was kind of the launch into our final year. And I think I think I had you out to the shop in like February. It was wintertime. I know.
Actually, it was my birthday. It was in June, the end of June, because you guys actually brought a cake and sang me happy birthday and everything. It was amazing.
Right. So was that 2020 or 2019?
I want to say it was 2019.
Probably
2020. Brittany says it's 2020. She would know better than me.
Yeah. So and that's when we had you on site, and that was a fun. I don't 2 or 3 days or 4 days we did, but that was real fun. It wasn't even a formal thing. It was like, hey, just come out and let's have some fun.
Yeah, they said we want to give you $50-something thousand. Just come out for 5 days and just hang with us for 4 hours a day.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. And it was just a freestyle. It's just a freestyle on site, not the same structure that we ordinarily would have had inside of the other group that we were training. And it was just come out, figure out what are we struggling with, what are the technicians getting stopped on, and let's just crush it.
I don't remember what you called it, but when you went around the office and put the yellow piece of paper along the office, a year later, 4 or 5 of those guys could tell the story all the way around the room.
What Scott's referring to is an exercise that we do in on-sites, and we also do it in our private mastermind, Service Tech Secrets by Lead Ninja. And it's a mental mapping that we use. We put these words around the room, and they help you to remember the negative side effects of breathing in allergens and molds so that you can just rip them off. And it's insane to watch people after a half an hour, they will have been able to memorize 30 negative side effects of breathing in allergens. So you had guys that a year later could still go back and recite all of them.
I mean, we did it in a meeting one time because somebody asked a question, and it was like, well, and I pointed over there, and then one of them popped up and started telling the story, and then a couple others would join in, and then everybody else would they were remembering points.
Yeah, they get on a roll.
Cool. Yeah, that was fun. So that took us to that final year. We sold, like I said, we set a pace to do 15 million. By October, we were at 17 million, which is when we sold the company.
Hell of a journey.
It was a great journey.
So listen, Scott, what 3 pieces of advice would you give to a business owner that wants to have the same kind of success? Maybe they've got $1 million, $2 million, $3 million company, and they want to get to where you're at. What are 3 things that they should do?
Number one, I'd say never let anything hold you back. Don't let limiting beliefs tell you in your mind that you can't. Because if I could do it, anybody could do it. Because I'm just a freaking knucklehead off the streets. What the number 2 thing would be, as quickly as you can, and even quicker than you can. You may not realize you can't afford it, but a lot of times you can't afford. Start putting in the systems and processes in place. as early as you can, get that stuff in place.
Give me an example of 2 or 3 of those.
Just the way you run a call. So, we call it the one source way. This is the one source way of running a maintenance call. That's a system. And
something that the customer can expect to receive the exact same way every time, kind of like going to McDonald's. Whether you go to one in Colorado or here in Florida, it's going to taste the same when you get a Big Mac.
I hate to tell this. I learned it from one of my mentors, but I hate to do this and give it to too many people. But there's probably enough people out there that know it anyways. One of our things that we did that was for every single customer every single time is we called them on our 20. We did a 20-minute call ahead, and it was our little let's break the ice already, and not really get into details. So we would say, hey Gene, I'm on my way out to your house. I'm 20 minutes away. We're going to be doing a tune-up in your home. On my way, I'm going to pass a Starbucks. Can I bring you a cup of coffee on my way? And that was so impactful. And that was our system. I mean, literally, we would spend like a week at a time training just that, role playing that in the mornings, just to make sure that you did it right on every single call every time.
And remember this, guys, people don't care what you know until they know that you care about them. Okay. And that's what they're doing immediately. Already they're showing that they care. It's a small courtesy, and it also creates a sense of obligation, does it not?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%.
Now look at this freaking picture behind me. You'd think this is a green screen.
It is beautiful. I love it.
God. Keep going, man. Beautiful.
The third thing I would say is make sure your guys are trained. Train them in whatever aspect's going to make them move to the next level. One of my biggest things was always, be better today than we were yesterday. Mm-hmm. And by that is if I have a technician that's struggling as a technician, I want to send them off to technical training. If that technician is struggling in flipping leads and sales, I want to send them off some sort of sales training. If I've got a technician person who's struggling in life, I'm going to send them to some life coach training. People are your biggest assets. We're not in the HVAC business. We're in the people business. And that's what it's all about. And, if you take care of your team's going to take care of you. And honestly, Gene, that's what I owe the $17 million a year. I didn't do shit. I had 120 people that were standing behind and pushing the wall with us. Right. We told them what we wanted to do, and they got it done for us.
It's incredible. So here's number 4. If you didn't catch it, I asked for 3. Number 4, take care of your people. Your employees are your internal customers, right? And they're more important than your external customers because they're the ones that take care of your external customers, and they're more expensive to replace than your external customers are. So always take care of your employees. Always. They've got to know that you love them. And your people were like freaking maniacs about you guys. They would kill for you.
I believe that we could have asked them to kill for us. There's a couple of them that would have gone to jail.
All right. 3 things that you would tell a salesperson or a technician who's considering becoming a salesperson. And it doesn't matter. This is not even trade specific, right? But 3 things that are super important for a salesperson to do in order to succeed.
Work ethic.
Gotta show up. Show the fuck up.
You gotta put in the work. It's like we go back to the beginning of the story is knocking on doors. You don't know where your next lead's coming from. And unfortunately, everybody in today's world gets spoon-fed these leads, right? Well, what if you weren't spoon-fed those leads? You got to go out there and get your hustle on. You got to knock on those doors. You got to pick up the phone. Number 2, training. I mean, I'm going to say training in any top 3 of whatever you need to do.
When do you stop training?
What is that?
When do you stop training?
Never. You know how much I spend on my own training?
How much?
I still go through training. I spend a minimum of $3,000 a month on my own training. I'm reading. One of the things that I didn't do growing up is reading. I was a failure at reading, and because it take me 4, 5, 6 times to read the book. But then I found out it takes 7 times to learn something before you learn it one time. So now I don't hesitate reading a book 7 times. Like, no, okay, that's actually it's normal people. It's not just
you'll learn more on the 7th time than you did the first 6.
Correct. Then that's when stuff starts clicking.
So read and train constantly, all the time, every day. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing every day.
Absolutely. And then the third thing I would say is follow up.
What do you mean? These spoon-fed technicians that you're going to give them another lead.
Yeah, they're going to give us another lead. Why not? So I know, in fact, she just commented on it. I haven't read the comment, but Coral became a master at follow-up. And she would, she put in the work in the day, and she would train with us in the morning. She'd go run her calls. She'd do some sort of training at herself on her own, and then she would do her follow-ups. And she'd sit down and sit down with her customer or go back to her customers for the day or for the previous day or whatever, and constantly, hey, just wanted to touch base if you needed anything from me. It doesn't even have to be a hard sales. It's like, Gene, just like when you followed up with me, it's like, hey, just checking in on you, brother. How's your business doing? Right? That's a follow-up. He's not saying, are you ready to buy today? No, that's not a follow-up. Just checking in with your clients, seeing how they're doing, what they could do, and how you could serve them to move on to the next step.
It could be something as simple as sending them a piece of information. Say, hey, I was thinking about you, right? I was thinking about you. I saw this article and I thought about you, and it had something to do with air quality or it has something to do with plumbing or whatever you're selling.
Absolutely.
It's just a contact, right? And it takes for you follow-up people out there that are not doing follow-up, it's the easiest way to make money. All right. Let me just ask you, how many clients can you see if you get in your truck and you drive in a day? Maybe 3. You can maybe do 3, 4 service calls. I can call 4 people before you get to your first job.
Yep.
Right. And they say the fortune is in the follow-up. I can't stress that enough. You have to follow up and be prepared to contact that person between 5 to 12 times. 80% of the actual conversations will happen after you followed up 5 to 12 times. And
based off this, I'm going to add a 5th nugget for the companies that are those 1 to 3 to 5 or they're trying to get to the next level. Don't trust your technicians to follow up. Either make sure they're following up or have somebody in your office that's following up for them. You would not believe how much you would catch off of having somebody just follow up on old estimates. I literally had a guy in my office that's all he did, Gene, and he sold $1 million a year just on the phone.
My internet cut out there for a second.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just saying that. So the follow up, even if, like I said, don't trust the technicians to follow up. We have somebody in our office that's working 8 hours a day doing nothing but follow-ups on old estimates.
Oh, my God.
That guy sells $1.5 million a year.
This position exists inside of every company, and you just don't know it, guys. Somebody should be making fun. I promise you. You give me a company the size of Scott's, right? 10, 15, $20 million. I can go in there, and in one day, I can put $100,000 on the board. Just following up. Just following up.
Well, not behind me because we already did it, but
right. But seriously, you give me a decent sized company that's running estimate. I don't care if they're equipment sales. I don't care if it's parts sales. I would always get pissed off when my guys weren't selling, and because I'm training them every day, right? And they get lazy. So I'd go into the office, grab a stack of invoices, and just start calling. Right. By the time I got to the 8th or 9th or 10th one, I had a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 sale in my hands. There's just so much money laying there on the table. And they will tell you when you're not in front of them why they chose not to buy from you.
Well, and you know what we became masters of is so the follow-up is not just the sales and the estimates and all of that. We stayed in touch with our customers constantly. Say hello. Yeah. Well, when you became a customer, I had a pipeline of marketing that I sent you through, you went through the email funnels and all of that, but we also called you every 6 months. Hey, man, it's time for your tune-up. People aren't going to call you. Get on the phone and call them. That's what I think is that's one of the mastery that we did as a company that set us apart. And, most companies don't do it. Like you said, give me a $10 million company. I promise you, I could book their leads out for the next year or the next 30 days just by calling our old customers and saying, hey, it's time for another service.
That's something that Brittany's phenomenal at. Absolutely phenomenal at. She has companies that tell her to stop marketing for them. Stop making telephone calls. We can't even run the calls.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome, man. Let me just look on this list here real quick. You've answered a lot of the questions that I had without me even asking them. What are you most proud of? What accomplishment are you most proud of?
I get really proud, and I get that proud papa feeling every time I see one of the people that I had an impact on their life, or I feel like I had an impact on their life, doing great things. So that's probably what I'm most proud of. Is
I love
seeing other people that I've been able to impact.
I'm gonna ask Brittany right now. Brittany, were there any questions in the comments that need to go up? Okay, no questions in the comments that need to go up. Cool, Scott. I've got pretty much everything that I need from you today. Here's what I want to ask you now. All right, you sold this company. What's next? What are you gonna do next?
What's next? So we're gonna create an empire in Arizona. We're kind of out here on the ground floor right now. The name is we're creating the name New Brand, and we're going to create another company in Arizona, and we're going to take off and take all of the things and lessons we've learned and do it from the beginning, and just see what we could create. It's going to be amazing. I don't want to release too much because I don't want it to be too much public information right now, but it's going to be magical. That's I'll say that.
You're going to do it again.
It's going to be magical.
You're going to do it again is what you're telling me.
I'm going to do it again. Yeah. So I had a lot of people, Gene, Jason, Mike, and all of us is like, oh, you guys just hit the right time at the right. I'm like, no, I think that's our niche is startups, because I think that we have what it takes to get it done, and that's kind of so what's next for us is that. I think what's next for me is I will probably enter the coaching world at some point, and it's probably going to be helping people to do startups.
Oh, I love that. Super, super cool. Should be a lot of referral business there for Lead Ninja. I love it. Scott, is there anything else that you want to leave the audience with?
Well, I mean, like I said, training. Lead Ninja is a great program. Gene, I give you praise all the time for what you do and what you've taught me and what you've taught so many other people out there. And pretty much that's just spend your time training, learning, and growing yourself, and don't let the limiting beliefs hold you back.
Fan-friggin-tastic. Scott, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to many, many more years of friendship with you.
Yes, sir. Boom.
Take care. See you guys. Boom.